board of Microsoft, they discussed and voted down putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet.
Yeah.
What kind of rate of change do you see with other large companies adopting a Bitcoin treasury strategy?
Right now, I think what we're seeing a lot of and quickly getting numb to are these companies springing up out of nowhere. Sometimes they are, SPACs, or
what's a SPAC?
It's a way of taking a company public that is almost like a reverse merger. So there's a company that is public, and its sole purpose that exists is to acquire a private company someday and take it public. And so it's kind of this weird gymnastics move to like get a private company traded on the public market.
Thank you for that. Sorry to derail you, but
no worries. And it like went public through a SPAC recently. And so it's not like, there's just trade-offs versus other approaches, not necessarily good or bad. But what I think we're seeing now are like treasury companies popping up in every publicly traded capital market globally. And I like that. I think that's good for us, good for Bitcoin, good for corporate awareness of what's going on. But the important inflection point in my view, and what'll really be kind of signal amidst all of the noise, is a household name, strong growth, revenue company buying. And hopefully not just a one-time buy, but like defining a strategy for ongoing exposure to Bitcoin. And, sitting there among all of the leveraged Bitcoin equity players is Square or Block, Jack Dorsey's company. And I love what they're doing. So they put 10% of their profits from their Bitcoin business unit into Bitcoin every month. And it's basically like, DCAing with a percentage of your profits. It's kind of what we enable at Castle, but for, smaller and mid-market companies. And so it's this like, lever up like crazy, go do a bunch of risk management. It's just like carve out a percentage of profits and allocate to this asset. And what I expect to see certainly in the next 2 years, but I could see it even in the next 12 months easily, is a big household name like Costco, Amazon, Oracle, Meta, some of the Mag 7. Once one of them meaningfully allocates to Bitcoin, then it will trigger evaluation of this asset by finance professionals in a way that I don't think many have felt compelled to yet. Because even though it's like the Bitcoin treasury thing is becoming a meme and there's a lot of dollars associated with it, it's kind of in this realm of like, there's weird zombie companies popping up. Metaplanet was like a dead company that used to make hotels and it's resurrected and now it's pumping. And so it's just kind of this territory that I think strikes a lot of finance professionals as odd.
Well, even MicroStrategy. It was like this small little company that almost nobody had heard of.
Totally.
It's now this Bitcoin play. And I'm sure, there are people probably suffering from a little bit of hubris on the board of directors of these mega corporations who are like, yeah, that's cool for him, but we got this killer business. I don't know that we need that. Yeah.
And so what I'm really looking for is in the next year, a strong business that is a household name that just has credibility and trust associated with it, buying Bitcoin in a meaningful way. And I think once that happens, then it will trigger this going a lot more mainstream, a lot more quickly. And actually, if I had to bet on one, I don't know which one it's going to be. I certainly don't have any insider info,
it's fun.
But it's fun to do on podcasts. A lot of people think Zuckerberg and Meta would do it because they have a lot of cash on hand, and Zuckerberg's got his like badass redemption arc that he's been going through with like jujitsu and MMA and bodybuilding and
his nice tan and cool new look.
So I would not be surprised if he did. And I think that'd be awesome to see. But I think Oracle is an interesting one. Because Oracle, Larry Ellison has been I don't think he's CEO anymore, but he's certainly on the board and is very influential. He's also on the board of Tesla. And Tesla, holds $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. So he's certainly had visibility into that from the earliest days of when Tesla was evaluating it. And he's just kind of this like legendary Silicon Valley samurai guy who's hyper competitive and doesn't like to lose. And once it really sets in, again that this is kind of a game of accumulation.
Yeah.
And games can be won or played in a competitive way. Then I could see Oracle making a buy.
Yeah. And if these large mega corporations, these somewhat centralized mega tech monopolies start to adopt a Bitcoin treasury, doesn't that take a little bit of pressure off mom and pop to a certain degree?
100%. Yeah. Because like for better or worse, it's very real human nature that we sort of look for authority figures, or at least these points of validation to figure out what to do, what decisions to make, where to protect our capital. And so I think every industry, like, prominent musicians buying Bitcoin and prominent CFOs talking about Bitcoin, every industry and every profession kind of needs someone that they can feel like they can identify with, who's validating this for them.
Well, and then also actually the way what I meant more so though is like, if you're a big publicly traded company that's profitable, then you're less incentivized to gobble up your competition and put Bitcoin on the balance sheet.
Yeah. That's interesting to think about the implications of. I mean, there's been a big game of consolidation for decades now going on, of fewer locally owned businesses that are really locally owned and operated, and more of everything being scooped up by private equity shops. Yeah. This became extra visible to me at Castle back in mid last year, like late 2024, when we started onboarding some companies in a private alpha sense. I just started going door to door because I thought it was fun. I was like, I like talking to people about Bitcoin. I like talking to business owners about what they're creating. So we were doing a temporary chapter in San Antonio, and I would just go door to door to businesses and just hit them up about this stuff like it was, door-to-door sales in the 90s or something. Mm-hmm. And we had a lot of fun conversations, but one thing that stood out is, man, it really is so detached now, where you have someone who's operating the shop, and then you have a headquarters, like a private equity firm that actually makes the decisions, and they're hundreds of miles away. And it's so rare nowadays to encounter a shop owner who has a business and is like there, present in their business day to day, where that used to just be the default a long time ago. And I'm not like saying that this is a inherently bad trend. It's kind of inevitable with tech, but it's true. And it just drove it home for me that, the incentive to keep your shop floor clean and have everything just be pristine and really high quality, and that attention to detail for creating a wonderful experience is often something that's in the owner of the company or the founder. And it's really hard to instill that in employees who are like brought on and earn an hourly wage. So quality sometimes suffers when you get that disconnect.
Yeah, that's why it's one of the many things I love about what you're doing with Castle. I mean, you're basically giving people, small businesses, a treasury that empowers them to just do what they're good at and what they love. There's so many people I know out there just want to. We interviewed a guy yesterday, Ben Justman. He's making wine. He made a comment. He's like, if I'm doing well, which I'm doing relatively well, I'm not going to expand. I'm just going to stay here with my 3.5 acres. I think they got another 3 acres that they're planting. And he's like, I'm just going to continue to make wine with my 6 acres, and then I'm going to buy Bitcoin.
I love it. Shout out to Ben. He's a real one.
I had thoroughly enjoyed beginning to meet him and chat with him.
Yeah. I'm excited to listen to that episode. And I'm a big fan of his wine.
Yeah.
I think that trend is exciting. It kind of sounds like a tagline, but like, I really do think that Bitcoin is not just for Wall Street or for Silicon Valley. It's also for Main Street.
Yes.
And like Main Street USA. And we need to normalize that, and we need to educate business owners about the value that it can bring to them. And I'm grateful to have a mission that feels so important to wake up and work on every day.
Yes. Yeah, I absolutely love that. I think Walmart as an example, moving forward, Walmart has this orange, beautiful, bright, shiny object that they can put on their balance sheet, as opposed to throwing up another Walmart superstore in some sort of area that then puts out a bunch of mom and pops out of business. So if they put that on the balance sheet, Bitcoin on the balance sheet, is as opposed to continuing to expand their empire. And then you also have all of these small businesses that are protected with the Bitcoin treasury. That's moving us all in a much better direction than the direction we were going.
Yeah, I think so. And I think there'll be instances where it happens hand in hand, where there is business expansion, but it happens in a thoughtful way. It's not something that is just
forced to do it.
Forced into, or that you thoughtlessly default to doing because it's the only way. It'll make you a lot more thoughtful about how you allocate your capital. And in cases where expansion is the right thing, it will supercharge that. Like, I don't know if you saw the headlines about Tahini's restaurant, or if you've heard their story.
No,
ever.
I haven't.
Okay, I'll keep it brief, but they're an awesome restaurant chain, Middle Eastern restaurant up in Toronto, I believe, is where they started. And they had like 2 locations or 3 locations in 2020. And in 2020, they started allocating the Bitcoin on their balance sheet in a big way. And they were talking publicly about it. The founder's on Twitter. He's an awesome dude. And now, fast forward 5 years, I think they have like 35 plus locations. And they've just been absolutely crushing it. And a lot of that growth has been fueled by Bitcoin, enabling them to do more and just amplify their success. And so, I think it's the best place to have your wealth when it is at rest until you decide what to do with it.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, click here to find more just like it, and here to find our most recent episode. Also, make sure to like this video to help shine light on the corruption of money. And be sure to subscribe to this channel to stay connected.